Hello, hello, everyone. Today we're discussing 5 things you need to know about landlord and tenant real estate law in Florida during the COVID-19 pandemic. Good afternoon. I'm Jamia Kingsby at Mia Miami _real estate. And today I'm here with Romy Jurado, Esquire, at Romy Jurado, a founder and managing partner of Jurado and Farsheim Law Firm. Romy, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. It's really a pleasure to be here with all of you, and I look forward to being able to answer this and many other questions that you and your audience may have.
So before we jump in, can you share a bit about your background and how you came to build your own law firm?
Sure, absolutely. I was originally born in Peru. I moved to the United States when I was a teenager, and I always dreamt about becoming an attorney because my grandfather was a judge in Peru, and I always looked up to him. So I knew that I needed to learn English very fast, which I did because, as you know, English, writing, and speaking it are basically the main tools that you need as an attorney.
Exactly.
Well, I was studying, and after I graduated from Florida International University, I had the opportunity to work for several law firms. Also, while in high school, I worked for my first legal department. That was actually Bacardi in their legal department. And then from there, I just started working in different law firms, everything from a receptionist, legal assistant, paralegal, to then after I graduated as an attorney. I realized that the area of law I wanted to focus in was business law. I saw a need for small business owners to have adequate representation that could be affordable. And that is one of the reasons that led me to open up my own firm. We've been active since 2014, so it's been quite a while now. We really enjoy it. We practice not just in business law, even though that's just what I focus on, but we practice in different areas of law: litigation, real estate, probate, state planning, trademarks, anything with intellectual property, and of course, business law.
Wow, that is amazing. I always love, it seems like in women in business and various aspects in the community, there's a story behind it that led them to that path. And to see that you're using your own knowledge and history from childhood and seeing your family, your grandfather, now it's amazing. And I think I even read that you were a rising star by the Super Lawyers, like 4 years in a row. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I was really honored that they chose me to be part of that category, and it's been a blast. It's been really nice to do what you love and be recognized for it.
I love it. You're just really an absolute mentor. I love that. Love that. Well, okay, let's jump in because I have a few questions, especially with the pandemic. Just as far as how from the real estate landlords have a side, tenants have a side, and I think there's just some really good information that you can really help us out with as far as my audience and even myself to understand what's the to-dos and not to-dos and maybe some assistance along the way. Starting off with my first kind of inquiry with you, my question, I'm hearing and seeing that landlords are in a really serious predicament as far as with evictions that are due to the non-payment by their tenants, whether it's for the employment fluctuations over the course of this past, we're in November now. So I'm curious, what are your best recommendations for landlords who have not received those rental payments for tenants?
Of course. So the first thing that I tell my landlord clients is it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. You have to address each individual tenant in their particular situation to see what hardship are they experiencing. Did they lose a job? Did they lose a family member because of COVID, or the person that lost the job is the person that can no longer work? You have to look and see what other debts they have. Did they ask for any type of help from the government already? You have to kind of assess their situation. Then after that, maybe they cannot pay completely. Maybe they can make partial payments. Before COVID, I would tell the landlord, don't accept partial payments because now it's going to be harder to evict them. But because of COVID, I know that it's not easy to evict right now. So I would actually, tell my landlord clients, listen, if they're willing to give you a partial payment, you might be in a position to take it, because otherwise you're not going to see anything, you know, and you can maybe work out something with them. We also help landlords come up with some type of rent deferral program. So you may want to say, you know, this is the criteria that you need to meet, you know, whether it's having lost a job because of COVID, having been negatively impacted, and then we can defer your rent, you know, for this amount until the end of the term, or we can extend your lease term so that you can pay and catch up. You know, you can figure out who would be eligible from your tenants and how you want to design that the rent deferral program. And that may be something that helps the landlord get some money, and at the same time helps the tenant be able to comply, you know, to the best they can. Also, you can lastly, you know, arrange move-out rules. Maybe you had a 1-year lease, but they haven't been paying you for a couple of months. Maybe you tell them, listen, if you move now, then I'm not going to come after you the months that you didn't pay me. Or if you move now or in a month, I'm only going to ask you for, you know, 1 month rent that you owe me, not the 3 months that you owe me. So maybe you might want to take a look at that, see if you can work out some type of early move-out from your, you know, your tenants that are not paying, where you would still be able to get a new tenant in. Hopefully they will pay you.
Yeah, those are some really great tips. It sounds like overall it's about just the flexibility of understanding the situation and the communication. That's what I'm really hearing from you. If there's some communication on how to like really to get the payments and the best solution for everyone involved there. Those are great tips. I heard also that some landlords, just in their frustration, are taking certain measures against renters that are kind of forcing payments, like they're shutting off electricity, the water. Are there some specific actions that are just complete, absolute no-nos that landlords legally need to avoid?
Sure, absolutely. Even though we're in a pandemic, even though things are going on, you are not allowed. It's illegal for you as a landlord, regardless how many months your tenant owes you, to go and physically change the locks. You cannot do that. You cannot take out their belongings. You cannot do any of that. You cannot shut off the electricity, their essential utility services while they're there. You can't do any of that. If you do, you're going to be in big trouble, because the law, it specifically prohibits that. So it says in the statutes, no self-help. You have to go through the available legal channels. And if you do, they're going to come after you, and they're going to fine you, and you're going to be in a worse place. You might even end up all over the news, because they're going to, you know, say really bad things about you. So don't do it. Do not shut off the light. Do not shut off, you know, the basic utility necessities. Do not change the locks. Do not take the tenant's possessions out in the street. You cannot and are not allowed to do that.
Okay, loud and clear. That's it. Okay, yes. And then I mean, the pandemic, it's really unfortunate. Like, it's been a ripple effect, hasn't it? I feel like while the renters are definitely stressed, but their non-payment has a repercussion on the landlord. I mean, because now they have to figure out who is paying the mortgage payments. That's still coming on their end. So from that perspective, is there a plan of action that landlords, if they're now financially impacted because the renters, they're not receiving the income there, and now they may even be at risk of losing their properties, anything they can do to kind of to recoup some of those funds, or any programs?
Sure. So what they need to do, the landlords, is reach out to their lender, because a lot of them understand what's going on, especially in the residential tenancies where you're not able to evict them right away. So that's the first thing that they need to do. They need to reach out to their lenders to see what programs they have, how can they work, you know, something. Now, if landlords have insurance against business interruption, then they may be able to claim these rents that are not paid and be able to be paid from the insurance. That's another thing to look at. You know, what insurance do you have? Can you have some payments covered because of the business interruption, and will they be able to satisfy your debt to your bank? Also, there is this EIDL loan, the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan, that a lot of my business clients have applied for, and my property management or landlord clients have applied for as well. The requirements are that you basically have some employees. Now, if you don't have any employees, you may not qualify, but even if you're your own employee, you may still qualify. So make sure that you apply for the SBA loan, the EIDL. The time passed for the paid PPP loan, but the EIDL you can still apply for.
Okay, EIDL. We just
Yes,
went through
the
that.
economic injury disaster loan. And again, the requirement are that you have some type of employees, but even if you have one, you might still be able to qualify.
Okay. All right. So EIDL, that's something to know. Economic Injury Disaster Loan from the SBA.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. That's really good information. Okay. So let's talk about the tenant and their issues now. Like, what protections may exist for tenants who might be facing this eviction, for their non-payment right now? Any tips on their end legally?
Sure. So basically, to the tenants, I would say a landlord cannot remove you from the rental property without a final judgment of possession signed by a judge, right? So just because they start to evict you doesn't mean you need to get out. They need to get a final judgment of possession in order to get you out, and then they get the sheriff to basically get your stuff out if you don't move out.
Okay.
Right now, there is the Center for Disease Control moratorium, which basically they're prohibiting landlords from evicting certain tenants which cannot pay rent, okay, because of the pandemic. So there is a declaration, there's a form. So if you're a tenant, you would Google, CDC eviction form or CDC, rent form. And there is a form that you can fill out where you basically make an attestation that you're not able to pay rent because you were negatively impacted by COVID. And with that form, they are not allowed to start eviction process until after December 30th. Maybe they will extend it further. We don't know right now, but last I heard it's up to December 30th. Also, you should check to see if there's any rental help. I know, for example, Miami-Dade County, where I am, they have rental help for tenants that cannot pay the rent. They will give you some money so you can pay your rent. So find out about rental help that you can get at the city level, at the state level, at the county level, to be able to have some money so you can pay your rent.
Okay. It's about being resourceful right now. Those are some really good
Yes.
resources then, for everyone to kind of take note of there that is renting and they may be in the situation. Okay. And now, if in the unfortunate case that a tenant does have a landlord who may be using some of these tactics, the illegal tactics, as we discussed earlier, in their efforts to evict the tenant, but in different ways to vacate the premises, what can a tenant do to protect themselves? Is there some action they should be taking to protect themselves from a landlord that's taking that illegal action?
Sure. So I think the tenant first should try to work it out with the landlord. Sometimes landlords don't know. Sometimes they're a little desperate. Sometimes, I don't know. But if that doesn't work, then absolutely reach out to an attorney, because what the landlord is doing by shutting off your utilities or doing stuff like that is completely legal. They cannot do it. And the right attorney will help you sue the landlord and be able to recover for your damages and to stop the landlord from continuing to do so, that you could actually do that. So absolutely, you have rights. Even if you're not paying rent, they're not able to do that. So reach out to an attorney that can help you.
Okay. This is really good. I just want people to really be informed right now, both on the landlord side and on that tenant side. This is a pandemic that's hit everyone at every level. So your information has been just so helpful and very concise. I love it. And that there are some real protections out there that exist for both,
Yeah, there is absolutely.
Yeah, and I love that you really put an emphasis in each of your answers there, that in all cases, hope for the most amicable outcomes,
Yes, we're all suffering right now. We're all going through something. Nobody expected this. So it's only normal that people's emotions and way of doing things, it's a little, shaken. So sometimes the landlord may be acting and doing these things out of desperation. But if you have a conversation, you may be able to work something out.
Yep, it's so imperative at this point. I love it. Well, Romy, thank you so much. How can people contact you if they have some questions, just need a little bit of assistance from you? What's the best way to get a hold of you?
They can email me. My email is Romy, ROMY, at jflawfirm.com. They can find me on every social media outlet with my name and my last name, which is Romy, ROMY, JURADO. And they can also call me, 305-921-0440. So I'm all over the place.
Fabulous. Okay, and I'll be sure also to have all the information down below in the notes for everyone to reach out to Romy if you have any other questions on your situation specifically. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Again, my name is Jimia Kingsby. I am at Mia Miami _real estate. I'm with the Howland Group at Compass in sunny South Florida. And always feel free to DM me or reach out to me at 786-328-0335. Until next time, everyone, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.